All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for another Shirt Lab workshop. Today's topic is ChatGPT best practices, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be something that we're all really interested in because who knows what's going on with this stuff, right? So before we get started, we want to take care of some just some homework here. So first off, if you're not a member of Shirt Lab Tribe, we'd love for you to join our mastermind group. You can go at shirtlabtribe.com. Membership is only $97 a month, and that pays for 100% of your employees. So if you think about it that way, it's pretty inexpensively way to get everybody to get knowledge and training and up to date on some awesome stuff. So feel free to reach out anytime to you got any questions. Also, we have another related workshop coming up in April. Michelle Moxley Ruby is going to be sharing some thoughts on getting started using Midjourney. So that's going to be April the 6th at 4 o'clock Eastern. And that's available also right now at Eventbrite. So just the same place you went to sign up for this one, you can go check that one out. And I haven't published that out on social yet. I just built the thing yesterday, so you look for that soon. And then here's our panel today. My email address is there, but also Tom and Allie are here. Say hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
And if you have any questions about anything, here are our email addresses. Please feel free to email us, and happy to help out. We couldn't do this without our awesome, incredible sponsors. So thank you so much for sponsoring Shirt Lab. And if you do business with these folks or considering to do business with them, please let them know how much you appreciate Shirt Lab so they can keep sponsoring events like this and other things that we're going to be doing throughout the year. And with that, let's get started. So here's what we're going to cover today. What is ChatGPT? Implementation ideas, prompts that work. Tom and Allie are both doing a whole bunch of really awesome stuff. Recommendations for you, a whole bunch of examples. And also we'll let you know that after the presentation tomorrow, I'm going to be sending the presentation out to you guys. So don't try to scribble the prompts down. I'll just send you the presentation and you can look at it at your leisure. And that way you don't get the hand cramp. At any time, if you have a question or anything, please just throw it into the Q&A and we'll get to it as soon as we can. So with that, here we go. So here's how ChatGPT works. ChatGPT uses the power of machine and natural language processing to understand and respond to prompts with precision and accuracy. So it's basically just answering in what it thinks the best answer is to whatever you put in. And prompts are short, simple phrases that provide context and direction to the AI. So Allie, here is one that you wrote. Why don't you tell everybody about this, about the prompt and kind of what you were trying to do?
Yeah, so for me, a lot of what I'm using ChatGPT for is to help me write letters or emails to my customers. I know all of these communications need to be happening, but I go to write them and I get really hung up. And so this is literally the first thing I said, just write a letter from Wear Your Spirit Warehouse to show appreciation to our loyal customers. I won't read it to you, but this is what came back. Now you may look at it and go, well, that's pretty simple, or that's pretty rudimentary. Well, this gives me a framework to work off of now that I can go and make those changes or make it slightly personal to a specific customer. But rather than me spending 15-20 minutes typing and checking for grammar and redoing, this literally generated in under 15 seconds.
And are you using this currently?
I am.
Yeah, there you go. So
yeah, all of my examples that I put in today, we are using.
Yeah. Okay, so throughout this presentation, we're going to be showing you some prompts for you to try. We want you to remember, actions reveal priorities. We want you to try ChatGPT. Okay, so we're going to be giving you some prompts just so you can try some stuff out and then start your learning. Okay, so we're throughout this presentation, there's a whole bunch of these, and anything that's in yellow is kind of like the word or the phrase that you can change to make it more personable to you. So here's one to try.
And hey, Marshall,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Before we jump in, can we just do a quick nuts and bolts? Or maybe you have it later, the website for Chat GPT, and you need to create an account, but it's pretty easy. Sometimes the servers are overwhelmed, but if you just keep trying every couple minutes, you'll get in.
Okay, well, why don't you talk about that?
All right. I will put it in the chat, but to get started, to get to Chat GPT, you're just going to go to chat.openai.com. Marshall's probably going to show, oh, thanks, Tom. Marshall's probably going to show, there are some other tools that you can use to get in as well. You can play around with those. You will have to create an account. They do have basic rules of engagement: no obscenity, don't search anything that is offensive. It's not going to give you feedback, and the AI will tell you that, like, nope, that's not going to fly. And like this has become really, really popular. This is going to be a generational change. I had an IT person tell me that Chat GPT to the English or to the written language is equivalent as of the calculator to the slide rule. It's going to change how everything's written. And so it's really popular. The first time you try to get in, it may say it's too busy. It'll sit there and try to entertain you for a minute or two. But if you just keep refreshing, you'll get in eventually. The longest I think it's taken me to get in is about 5 minutes.
And I've gotten really impatient, and I'm using an app called Notion, which has yet to fail me. So there's a lot of ways through the door, and they're all using the same tool. So anyway, thanks, Allie. That was a good point. We should have made a slide for that.
Sorry. I think of these things too late.
Yeah. So here's some prompts to try. I'm trying to understand how ChatGPT's language model works in screen printing. This could be embroidery or heat press or whatever. Can you help me understand it better? I want to learn more about training process of ChatGPT for the decorated apparel industry. Can you explain it to me? And explain the process of using Instagram to generate online store web page visits using ChatGPT. And lo and behold, I just want to show you guys the results of all these. So this is instantly, this is the feedback that you get. And of course, the format can be different, and you can also change the format of the response. More on that later. And then we also got some little, we'll show you how it works kind of a thing. But this is just really how you can use it, and some of the feedback you might get. So common uses for ChatGPT, here's 20, but there's a gazillion. Okay. And I really think that the sky's the limit. And Allie and I earlier were talking about an article that Seth Godin wrote. Why don't you share your thoughts on that, Allie? That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting because some people have criticized it because it may not be at a certain academic level or things this way, but he was talking about the speed and the amount of information that you get it back. And yes, you could spend the money to go hire 100 experts to write some phenomenal web copy for you, or one expert to write some phenomenal web copy for you. But you can also use Chat GPT and input the information that you're looking for and put in a few tweaks. And yeah, it's not going to be, a Pulitzer Prize winning novel, but is that what you need? It's kind of that done is better than perfect. And if you can do it quickly and it saves you money, then why not?
Yeah. So here's a little video that Allie made. So Allie, what are we looking at?
This is just a live video. This is what it looks like. It's a pretty basic interface, and I just did a screen video of me putting in this prompt of why Warrior Spirit Warehouse is best company for fire department promotional, and this is how quickly it came back and what it gave me. There's no edits here. And this
I
is,
thought it was also interesting that you spelled fire department wrong and they corrected it.
yep, I was typing fast. I do know how to spell it. I was just typing fast. But it gives me 5, I forget how many now, 5 or 6 really good talking points that are pretty well stated. And even for training individuals, sales team or things this way, and trying to give them talking points when they're on the phone.
Right. So let's get started about establishing some goals, right? So we want to set goals for using ChatGPT, and these goals can be anything that's relevant to you. It doesn't, these are just some goals. You need to really kind of think about how you might use it, right? So here's some really common things, which is provide faster response times, eliminate manual customer service tasks, collect customer feedback. You can build out process maps. You can write instructions on something. And then here's something that Tom did. So Tom, why don't you talk about what this is?
Yeah, so we're mapping out our customer journey and want to know kind of what are the different stages for the customer, to become aware of the research consideration, but then even diving deeper into each one of these stages. So this is like step 1 of what are those stages. And then we took it even deeper and we said, all right, during the consideration stage, what does that look like? And really expanded on each one. So the cool thing about this is, if you don't get the answer that you're looking for that you think fits, most likely you just wrote a bad question or you need to clarify the question. So you got to think of this computer as, I always think of it as I'm talking to my toddler. Even though it's the smartest thing out there, it's only as smart as what you put into it. So you can go back and get very detailed on the question. You can add specific details and keep reformulating the prompt that you're inputting, and that will help with that output.
So Allie, I think this was from you. So what are you trying to do here?
Yeah, so I wanted to come up with some forms that were graphically pleasing, easy to read, that I could put on my website for my customers. And I'm not a web designer, I don't know. And so I simply asked, hey, what are the best colors to use? Making a user interface form. And it came back and gave me the various combinations. And then, some other tips.
Yep. And then Tom, you wrote, you just got some new equipment. So talk about that.
Yeah, we just got the Blue Water Labs inline reclaim units. So really looking to easily explain it, start an SOP for the staff. Anytime we've got, let's say whether it's part-time person or maybe, just grabbing someone from a different department, or maybe it's a temp worker. How can we explain this to them, explain kind of some of it? So if you read through this, some of this is the basics, but that is helping those people who are not in the weeds every day of this understand why this process is important, what part of the step this is in, and going from there. So this is just like step 1 of creating that SOP of like, hey, this is the basics, but then how can we dive in further from here? And this helped get a lot of that out of the way. Obviously, as the experts in the specific industry and with that equipment and stuff like that, there's things that the AI might not be 100% dialed into, because it's just gathering this information from where it's finding it and everything. So there's parts of this I would go in and add our own vocabulary to it, add our own updates and different things like that. But the key is this had a nice outline for a starting point, and I was able to create this within seconds, and then now I'll go back in and add to it as we need.
And Tom, you mentioned you'll use your own vocabulary and things that way. So ChatGPT actually also starts learning the users, and Tom is logged in. So over time, if he's going in and saying, add this word or change this word, and telling it to do that in the chat, and it makes those changes, it will learn. And then Tom can put a prompt that says, write this SOP using Envision or 1-800 t-shirts vernacular, and it will.
Yes.
Yeah. And here's another one for coding screens that's just very similar. So some prompts that you might want to try, right? So what are some tips for getting the most out of ChatGPT for customer service responses? How can I use ChatGPT to increase my sales conversions more effectively? And can you share examples of how other companies have successfully integrated ChatGPT into their marketing strategy? Again, anything that's in yellow, just you can switch that into some other phrase or word, and you'll get a different response, or something that's more sticky to you. So let's talk about research. So researching ChatGPT is, we think you should really start by playing around with it. There's no way you can watch a presentation like this and be an expert. The only way you got to do it is to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and start creating a whole bunch of stuff, right? How many different variations and tries, you guys, do you think you've done in the last like 2 or 3 weeks?
Oh,
hundreds.
Yeah,
I'm a little obsessed with this.
the great the great part is you can get a lot done in a little bit of time, but then there's also kind of the rabbit hole effect to it where it will suck you in, and because you want to test it out, you want to try different things, you want to see how it's going to react to different prompts, and quickly as you're learning it and testing it and just kind of trying to figure things out, you can quickly be on it for hours. and that's part of the learning process, right?
Yeah. So try different variations, save the results. Of course, it saves it, but you might want to save how you're doing it or make note of the different prompts. I actually have just an index card with different kind of prompt words on here that it helps me kind of remember what worked or how I should reframe things. Just to share thoughts in groups, Shirt Lab Tribe Circle, for example. We'd love for you guys to share your success or some sort of crazy failure you've had with it. That's how we all learn. And then really just learn to use the tool. So here's just for something different. This is that Notion app. And huge shout out to David Slagle for recommending that to me. And so this is using ChatGPT just within a different program. And I'm typing in create instructions for managers to help engage employees and make them more productive, right? And so it's going to give me the result. Here it is. Okay, so it works just like the same. Now, I'm not happy with that. I don't really like it as much. What can I do? Well, I can hit the try again button, and then all I can do is I can edit. You see down at the bottom, I'm editing the question, if I can remember what I want to say. So here I want them to do a mind map, right? Which is a different format, right? So here's the mind map. It's the same topic. It just comes back to you with a different way of looking at the answers, which is less paragraph style and more bullet points. And then I think I'd try it one more time here with just something else. What do I do? I can't remember. But the point here is that you can goof around and play around with this, and it's a lot of fun, right? So, and you just don't really know what is going to come out. It's kind of like Forrest Gump here. Now I'm asking it for the OKR format, which is objective key results, right? Which is a really great, if you're a process map guy, OKR format is a really great way of doing stuff because it kind of lists everything out, right? So Brian Bufka asks, have you used prompts asking ChatGPT to write in different voices or styles? If so, which worked best for sales text? And I think we have an example later on, Tom, where you asked you to emulate Dan Kennedy, I think, right?
Yes.
All right.
You can also ask it to write to different reading levels, like different grade levels. And as sad as it is, it says most websites should be written at like a 6th grade level.
Yeah.
So
here's some more prompts to try. You know, what's the best resource to becoming an expert in promo? Can you recommend advanced techniques for fine-tuning ChatGPT for creating drip marketing? So you're asking ChatGPT how to use ChatGPT, right? So, and here's one about wanting to get 5-star Google reviews, right? So give me the resources and tips, right? And then it'll give you the answer. Also, some other comments. Todd Downing says, we often ask if act as if, and it produces great results. And Ron says you can ask to write in more casual style or funny. Yes.
although if you
100%.
ask it to write humorous, now I'm giving her really a persona. It'll come back and tell you that it doesn't have a sense of humor, but it'll try.
Yeah. So design plan. So think about how you're going to incorporate this into your business. So how are you going to use this automation best? Where is it going to go? Who is going to do the work? Outline the training. So it can't just be you doing it. Do you have a sales team, a marketing team, other people doing things? So they need to learn how to do it, and you need to provide them the time and the training and also some best practices that you've learned, right? So what do you think they might need for that? How are you monitoring performance with your staff that's doing that, right? And then also, what are you going to be doing to evaluate the results that you have, right? So if you incorporate this into a sales letter or a web page thing or ad copy or whatever you're doing, are you evaluating the results? Is it making it better? Was it a complete failure? Kind of chart it out so you can teach yourself what seems to work. How are you guys evaluating stuff, Allie or Tom?
So I'm certainly looking at the difference of, like, say, when I put up a blog post or send out an email, what my response is, where I'm, just kind of manually counting that. But to be honest, I've got a plan in place, but it's so brand new and it's changing so quickly that I'm just really watching. I don't have concrete data yet.
Mm-hmm. So Lakeisha says, does anyone use it for creating sales scripts? I
Yes.
believe Tom has and Allie has, and we have some examples of that. So hold on. So Tom, here's yours, right? So talk about this.
Yeah, so again, like I've mentioned before, like sometimes these questions we get the answer, but then you take that answer, and as the AI starts to see that answer, then you stack upon it. So here's some different things to measure for the sales team, but then you can dive in even deeper and kind of go beyond what the initial thing is. So again, this is just kind of some high level. All right, let's get something, formulate something, start it, and then you can take the answer and dive in even deeper.
And Allie, here's yours.
Yeah, so one of my niches is construction contractors. So I wanted to have something written in that style and language. So yeah, write a letter to introduce us to contractors for lead generation. And it talks a little bit about understanding their pain points and then how we can address that. And so we're starting to send this out. I don't have data yet on what leads it is. Like, we just started sending it out yesterday, so I don't have data back on how many leads we have back yet, but.
Okay. And then Tom, here's one for a cold email script for a lead from a trade show. So Lakeisha, this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so again, on this, we're just looking what's some easy for follow-up, and then on this, you can specify, the length as well. So I put this one in. This is actually a good learning one where I was like, it spit this back out. And I'm like, you know what? That's too long. That's on maybe a warm lead or a hot lead. They're going to take the time to maybe read a little more. But on a cold lead, this is way too long. Like most people, especially if they're reading it from their phone, it's too long. So a follow-up prompt to this would be, write a cold email under 100 words from a trade show. So you can specify the number of words or the length. And so the follow-up, like I said, I put this as a good example of it's nice, but it's just too long and it actually probably won't work very well. We didn't test this one out, but I just know from experience, like if I get an email this long from a trade show person, like I'm not taking the time to read it. So you can specify the number of words or the length that you're looking for as well.
So some prompts to try. Believe it or not, ChatGPT can make a spreadsheet. So here's just a basic one that you might want to try just to see what that spreadsheet might look like. Write a set of specific, measurable, and attainable goals for learning to use ChatGPT using the OKR framework. So that's objective key results. So that's a really great framework if you're trying to do process stuff. And then here's another one that you could really super customize. Write a follow-up email to a customer who has yet sent a quote presentation, but hasn't ordered yet, addressing any objections they have to working with our business. And each one of these, I did them in different colors to highlight the fact that maybe you send the thing and then they haven't ordered, and then they say, hey, I don't like the color blue, your price is too high or something. And then you can put that objection into ChatGPT and it'll spit it back out with what your reply might be. So it has a lot of uses here. So let's talk about increasing sales. So it's really great for generating ideas, optimizing call to action, creating ad copy, ideas for headlines, product descriptions, and identifying trends, among 8 million other ideas, right? So Tom, you put this one in, so talk about this.
Some of this is just brainstorming and figuring out, all right, what am I looking for, and what are some different marketing things. So just looking for different, like, what are different things we can add to our overall marketing plan. And then, once we have these 7, again, diving in deeper, maybe getting a little more specific on that question. Besides just, this is pretty general. What is a good source of leads for decorated apparel business? You could put in a specific niche. So, you could put in whether it's sports teams or clubs and stuff at high schools or colleges or nonprofits, or you're looking for trucking companies or construction companies or lawn care, whatever the case is. Diving in a little bit deeper and getting more specific is going to get you a better outcome.
And Allie, you did one for the military. What's this about?
Yeah, so the military operates a little bit differently, and they have procurement officers. And so same sort of thing. We do a lot of promotional items for units and recruitment. So generate a sales letter to the Air Force specifically, to procurement officers for promotional items, and it hits on all of those things. Again, it gives the why, helps address their pain points, and does the ask. Like Tom, this is probably a little bit long, so I'd either trim it down myself or rewrite the prompt and ask it to keep it, under 100 words.
Yeah. Or maybe don't start each sentence with the word we.
True. Yeah, there's always some changes and some things you're going to do, but again, it just reduces the amount of time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and sometimes there's some really great nuggets in there that I just wouldn't have thought to write.
Yeah. And Tom, here's another one. What are we doing here? Same thing.
Yeah. You know, what are those questions? So this would be for the sales rep. We're trying to standardize this a little bit. So when a customer calls in, we're diving into, you know, what's the purpose of their order, what do they got going on, and just trying to help get some of those qualifying questions in place as part of the sales process. And then again, like I said, we can add our own, we can modify these a little bit, but a great starting point for us to get that SOP in place.
All right. So prompts to try. What are some effective strategies for creating a call to action that stands out on insert your web page here and encourages users to take action and get started? I just used Allie's webpage address. That could be yours. I want to create content around creating online stores for restaurant gift merchandise. So maybe you're helping out a restaurant, right? So can you give me some suggestions? Write a re-engagement email to a customer who has not made a purchase in the last 6 months or longer, offering them a special deal to come back. Just, you know, and of course you can tailor what the deal is or whatever you want. This is just an idea. So let's talk about automation. So ChatGPT can respond to customers' questions live, but you're going to have to teach it. It can help you book appointments. It can help you process orders. It can send automated personalized messages. It can provide personalized suggestions. And Tom is doing something right now with ChatGPT for Shopify stores using this program called Gorgeous. So Tom, why don't you talk about what you're doing?
Yeah, basically, so within OpenAI or ChatGPT, like a lot of other programs are using it kind of as their back-end engine. This is just one of those programs. So we're using it, you know, basically as a chatbot, but then also as kind of an automated response for emails and things like that, where, you know, it's connecting to the AI of like what they actually placed on their order, what their tracking number was, things like that. So we don't have to go in and answer those questions that the AI can basically track down like the answers to the question.
And that's rolling out when? Because I know you're still building that.
Hopefully soon.
Hey, thanks for committing. So here's some prompts to try. We want to use Twitter to drive website traffic and generate leads. Can you create a plan for automating your B2B Twitter growth, including tactics for identifying industry influencers and creating targeted campaigns for HR managers? So, you know, you could probably change Twitter out for Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And it's just an idea about let ChatGPT give you an idea on how to automate what you're doing with your social media growth. And then I wrote this one just for Tom. Please create an offer letter for a production manager role with an annual salary of 60 grand with a start date of this weekend. Please include the list of standard benefits and a brief company overview of the Vision Teas in Dubuque, Iowa.
I like that one.
Love it.
And then how can I automate my influencer outreach to process for my t-shirt merchandise line? So a lot of people have t-shirt merchandise line, but how can we automate the process? Ask ChatGPT for guidance about how to do it. It'll give you the answer. All right, customer experience. So what are we talking about here? How can you use ChatGPT to augment your customer's experience? Surveys and feedback, order inquiries, frequently asked questions. And then here's a great one from Allie. So Allie, what are you doing here? Are you disgruntled with one of your customers?
Well, we all know we've got customers that aren't a good fit, and we may have done business with them in the past. Or if you've done your 80-20 and you want to get rid of your bottom 20%, I needed a letter that could gently fire a customer that's no longer a good fit for us. I was really struggling figuring out how to write it. I wanted it to be kind and understanding, so I didn't piss people off or come up with a bad reputation. So I threw it into ChatGPT, and I thought it came up with a pretty good letter.
I like it. And Tom, you're talking about lead magnets here. What is a lead magnet? And we'll talk about this prompt.
Yeah, so we're just looking for different ideas to, offer something free to get an email address, looking for something maybe for Facebook ads to use at whether it's trade shows or just email out. And this came back with some good ideas, and then we'll take these ideas and dive into them a little bit deeper.
And Allie, you've got some past due accounts.
I do. I know we're supposed to collect everything up front, and I do 90% of the time. But yeah, for these few that are past due, again, I want a kind but firm collection email. These are the types of things I'm just not good at writing as a business owner. I don't have a huge staff. Threw it in. It was a good letter. This gets now sent out weekly for any past due invoice.
That's great.
And we've collected a lot from it. Been
Yeah,
good.
Good. And Tom, you've got a top 10 list. What's going on?
Yeah, so this is basically what I was looking for, either a blog post or maybe something to put on LinkedIn. And, I specified in there a few of the things I wanted ChatGPT to basically fill in the blanks of the other 10 things that maybe a high school club or something traditionally does as a fundraiser. So adding some value to, the particular audience by seeing like what those 10 fundraisers are, but having, 4 or 5 of those fundraisers be stuff to do with us specifically. So I thought this one worked out well. It's definitely too short to be a blog post unless I was going to add some more meat to, but I think this would work well on either Facebook or LinkedIn.
What I like about it is the fact that you didn't, you gave it a couple answers and then it made up the rest. And that way you minimize the amount of time, because you know that you wanted the other ideas to be peppered in. So, So here's some prompts to try. I'm looking a way to streamline my customer service email responses, create a template for shipping. What's the most common pain points that an event manager might have if they're looking to purchase custom t-shirts for the event? And analyze the style and layout of the e-commerce page at 1-800 t-shirts, because that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Or you want to do some R&D, and I don't mean research and development.
What elements stand out to you and why? So this is, if you want to see a really successful web page and why it works, maybe you use this as your prompt, and then you can learn how other people do things. I think that's what Allie's alluding to there.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I like to poke fun at Tom.
Well, now that I know that we're both doing ChatGPT for all this construction business, I
Yeah,
gotta step up my game.
that's right. So let's talk about integration, right? So ChatGPT integrates with Slack. So if you use Slack, it's built in, right? So I don't use Slack. I actually don't like Slack, but enjoy. Microsoft Teams, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and Gorgeous that Tom was just talking about. You can all use that as a chatbot. And then also Zapier, if you're familiar with Zapier, it already connects with OpenAI, and you can use that with most apps. I would love, none of the three of us are actually connected with Zapier with ChatGPT, and we would love some examples. If anybody is using that, throw that in the chat. We would love to learn. So, but we do know that it connects, but it's just so new. I don't think anybody's built anything out yet. Allie or Tom, have you heard anything that's interesting out there that you've been wanting to try, but you haven't got around to yet?
No, but knowing that it connects into Zapier, I'm probably going to dive into that this weekend when I have a little bit of time, because I'm pretty curious.
Mhm. So, Tom, you're using something with voice AI. What are you doing here?
Yeah, so we're working on basically as part of our onboarding sequence, welcoming new customers in. And I was trying to figure out the best way to, essentially do a welcome video that says, hey, welcome Rob to one of her t-shirts. We're so glad you placed your order with us. We really hope you enjoy the t-shirts that you ordered, or the hats that you ordered, or the mugs that you ordered, or whatever it is. And with this, basically, I can record the video one time. Someone can go back in with the keyboard, retype the name from Rob to Julie or Mike or whatever that person's name is, and then retype t-shirts or hats or water bottles or koozies or whatever the item is. And the AI will actually do it in my voice, change it so I'm saying that, and visually see the video of me saying that, even though I didn't record 100 different videos. So it's a way that we can do that and automate that as much as possible without me sitting in front of the screen recording videos all day.
That's really super scary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's awesome. All right. So let's talk about improving your results with ChatGPT on how to write prompts. So, of course, you want to dial in your results with prompts. This is all about you. And the reason it's called chat, and I think Allie made that point known earlier, it's you should keep chatting with it and to dial in exactly what you want. What's the record, Allie, that you've tried to get the result that you wanted? How many times have you think you've chatted to get the result?
Well, I've got I don't know what the record is, but I do have an example at some point. If I share my screen, I think it's got like eight different chats that it just builds on one after the other.
We'll do that at the end, I think.
A real life example.
Yeah. And then, so here's some different prompts. So right at a grade degree level. So right at a doctorate level, right at a 4th grade level. You can emulate. So earlier we were talking about how Tom has one where he's emulating Dan Kennedy. You could emulate a famous author, or, whoever, emulate however you want. Write in natural language instead of gobbledygook speak. Use short sentences. So instead of having this really long description, please write in short sentences. And also you can format your response. Markdown is kind of an outline. OKR, I alluded to that earlier. So here's the one from Dan Kennedy. So what were you trying to do here, Tom?
Yeah, so basically taking The Ultimate Sales Letter as a book, and the author is Dan Kennedy. So I wanted the question answered in that format that they talk about in the book. Also with books, you can, like, if you're trying to look back and remember something from a chapter or whatever, you can type in like, what are the 10 key highlights or components of this book by this author, and it'll quickly summarize the book for you. And again, so this just kind of spit out, and I'll go in, edit this specifically for what we need.
Mm-hmm. And here's another top 10 list. Maybe this is the same one I shared earlier. I think it is. Whoops. All right, so prompts to try. Emulate William Shakespeare and write a 500-word blog about why customized t-shirts are the best way to market a small business. In a humorous tone, use storytelling to engage readers and use a metaphor to describe the fun of ordering from an online t-shirt store. And then create a mind map for engaging with employees in a small business in a markdown format. which we did earlier. So those are some prompts that you might want to try, just to see what happens. So here's some time and money savers. So Tom suggested this. Tom, what are we looking at here?
So future tools basically combine, we talked earlier about some of these apps that are connected to OpenAI and ChatGPT running in the background. And so this kind of is essentially an aggregator of all these different tools. So depending on what you're looking for, whether it's marketing or research, translation, podcasting, music, you name it, this kind of compiled all these different apps or programs that you can either subscribe to or use. And so pretty fascinating. This was kind of an easy way to find them without, going out and searching out all these marketing blocks. AI is a really good one. There was one in here that I've not tried yet, but it was, I think it might be called like Beautiful AI or something, which basically you can take a really basic presentation that you did in Google Slides, where maybe you just have text only in there and maybe a couple photos, and it actually makes a really nice presentation by adding a theme to the slides and formatting it really nice. This personally, like Marshall was doing that for me. So now I don't have to have Marshall's help of doing that. I can just pop it into the program and let that format everything.
Thank God. I mean, come on. So notice here, there's 988 total tools. So this is just a screenshot. This thing scrolls down forever, right? So it's futuretools.io. So check it out. And then Google SEO impact. So Allie really wanted to talk about this for a little bit. I found some articles. So Allie, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so one of the big concerns when this first came out was that if you used it to create blogs or website copy or anything that way, that you would shoot yourself in the foot for your Google SEO. And about 2 weeks ago, Google released the white paper, and then more articles have now spun off of this, that Google's not against it. As long as it meets the same criteria as a human-generated blog or whatever piece it is that you're doing, that it's intelligent and all of these things we've already talked about, that it will not impact your SEO. It will help it the same as anything else. And I think this is just Allie's personal opinion. I think this is twofold. One, I think Google is having a hard time determining what is AI generated and what isn't. And Google is also developing their own AI right now to release.
Damn.
And there you go. And so anyways, you can use it, you can put it on your website, you can use it wherever, and as long as it's equally well written as something written by a human, it's not gonna ding your SEO.
Yeah, and this article came out on January the 11th, and this one about Bard, which is Google's answer to ChatGPT, came out on February the 6th. So these are relatively recent articles. I thought both of them were really well written and descriptive. So you might want to check those out.
Yeah, and hold on tight, because Google has Bard and Microsoft is the majority owner of ChatGPT. So we've got two of the big boys driving this. Yeah. It's changing fast.
So it's time for questions. So what I want to do is in the Q&A, just type your questions in, and then I'm going to attempt to share control with Allie, and then she can bring up her screen and we can maybe do some live ChatGPT work. Okay, so that's our goal.
Yeah. So
hold on a minute. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then what do I need to do here? I need to make you the co-host, Allie.
I don't even think you have to do that. If you just go to security.
I don't know. So now you're the co-host. So see if you can share your screen.
I sure can.
There you
so
go.
We can. Are you seeing my ChatGPT?
Yeah, you're live.
Perfect. All right. So, first of all, people are doing some questions and giving us some prompts to put in. I did this last night. I was building an online store, and we all know that yes, our online stores will automatically pull catalog descriptions from our distributors. However, we also know that our SEO will be better if we write our own catalog descriptions. But how many times have you written a description and like, I just don't have any more catalog descriptions in me. I just draw blank. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to try this with ChatGPT. So I went in last night and I said, write a catalog description for an ST420 LS. That's a sport tech UV shirt, long sleeve UV shirt. And it came back with this high performance laser. And I was like, oh, all right. Didn't know that existed. So I learned something that was kind of cool. So I'm like, my next prompt was just wrong product, ST420 LS by Sport Tech. And it apologized for the confusion. And then it wrote me this long description, which I thought, too many words, nobody's reading that. And I said, make this description short for a catalog. And it came back with one paragraph, but it didn't mention the UV protection. So the key to know about the AI is that's different from like a Google search is, yes, I can do a Google search and come up with somebody else's description, but this is writing it and I'm making changes and it's interactive and it's a chat. So you can keep adding. So I said, all right, write it and also mention that it has UV protection. So it does. And then I said, well, but I wanted you to be specific and say that it has a UPF rating of 50. So it does that. And I was like, all right, great. I'm happy with that description. Now, based on this, what are my searchable keywords? So I can add this into my website and get good SEO. So it came back and gave me a list of my searchable keywords. And then I realized, all right, well, this was written mostly towards sports teams, and I'm building this store for a group that's going hiking and backpacking. So I said, oh, I was on my keywords. Well, go back a minute, go back to my catalog description and change sports teams to outdoor enthusiasts. And it does, it just puts it in there. Now, if you notice, here's my outdoor enthusiast, but it still talks about athletes down here. And I'm like, okay, well, I can go change that myself. I'm like, all right, well, this same shirt I'm using a lot for sailing organizations in our area. So I'm like, hey, use the description, but direct it towards sailing organizations. So here's the updated one for sailing. And my point of this is it's very easy to make custom catalog descriptions for all of the products. These took 30 seconds to generate each, which I would never be able to do that quickly or have a staff member do that quickly. And then while Marshall was talking, I think it was Dallas said something about metadata, which is my keywords here, but I'm like, all right, I want to see what ChatGPT says if I specifically ask it about metadata. So what's the best way to use this to improve my metadata for my online store? And it came in and first gave me a little description and then gave me the keywords in a way that I could just copy and paste. And then also saying you can make these tags for customers and so on. So it's just a really great way to quickly come up with catalog descriptions, making your online stores not the same cookie cutter as everybody else, which also is going to help your SEO. The other thing about ChatGPT or Notion that Marshall is using or any of them is it saves your chats over here on the side. So, you know, what's the best day for a webinar? Here's my fire department one. So I can go back to them and either continue the conversation or grab it again if I need it. So do we have any prompts of something somebody wants us to do, Marshall? Because I can do a new chat.
We haven't tried any prompts. I don't think anybody put any prompts in here, but I would like you to take that same one and say, do it in a markdown version or a bullet point outline so it's less wordy. So, and now let's read some of these.
Make my catalog description in bullet points. Oh, we're getting busy time of day.
We stumped it.
we're slow now. I don't think we stumped it. I think it's just a lot of people on the server.
Right.
There it goes. Oh, and look, now it combined my last two.
Oh, that's great.
And if you notice, when I was at the very top, like I didn't capitalize the SKU. I didn't put Sport Tech in correctly as with the hyphen and the capitalization, and it fixed it all for me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's great. So we've got some comments here. So Todd says, if you're new to ChatGPT, start with the prompt, how can I utilize ChatGPT in my apparel decoration business every day with success? Thanks, Todd. That's a good one. Ron says, I've had conversations about DTG and DTF and the info wasn't correct. When I corrected her, she apologized. Interesting interaction. So maybe let's see what happens.
Well, yeah, so up above, when it came back with my laser and I said wrong product and told her, it said, my apologies for the confusion earlier.
Yeah. Dallas says output links is also very useful for meta descriptions. Todd says ChatGPT can also write code for your websites. And Brian says, have you tried the Chrome extension that connects ChatGPT to the web and gives references of where it pulled the information? I just learned about it yesterday, but so far it is interesting. Oh, no, we haven't heard about that.
This is changing every day. So we're all learning together.
Yeah. So does anybody have anything that you want us to put in to show how this works? Maybe you're new and haven't tried it yet. So before you create your account, maybe we could do something for you, right? So just throw that into the question so we can try it out for you. So Tom, how many people do you have using ChatGPT in your business currently?
Right now, 4.
And do you guys have a best practice like meeting or anything so you can share how you're all working and learning together?
No, I think it's just dive in, learn it, be on the forefront of it, because I mean, it's definitely a tool that can help speed up efficiencies, get things done faster. And as it evolves, it's going to definitely be a main tool that I think a lot of people on the team will be using.
Mm-hmm. Allie, what about you?
Right now, it's just me. My company is much smaller than Tom's, but it's just me, but I am feeding it out to some of my employees, some of the responses, and be encouraging them to get on there.
Yeah, so I'm using it for me. I'm using it. And then my virtual assistant, Lyra, is also using it. She's busy using it for our upcoming Shirt Lab Summit for a whole bunch of stuff for that event.
So Marshall, I want to issue you a challenge in your spare time.
Great, because I have so much of that.
I know you do. I want to see if ChatGPT can write a business plan.
I don't know, put it in.
Well, it's not going to do the whole thing, but if you have your chunks, you've got your book with business plan and all of that.
Yeah.
If we did it in chunks for our businesses and just tweaked it, how quickly we could all actually have a business plan that none of us really have because they're so time consuming to write.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see you do it and see how long it takes.
I bet there are some best practice. So put this in. What are the ChatGPT business plan prompts? What's going off the rails here about chatbots?
Well, we said, because we said, what are the chat GPT?
Oh, I see. Right.
We could do, what are the best practices?
Or- So we want to refine this to a one-page business plan,
I was just thinking the same thing.
and because this is more of like your standard SBA version. So what we would want is to answer these questions. So, well, I'll happily accept your challenge, Allie, and let me figure it out. And we'll post the results in Shirt Lab Tribe Circle. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. So I haven't really seen any questions come in. So with that, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you joining us and look forward to our next workshop. Any last minute ideas, Tom or Allie?
Dive in. Don't be afraid. Just start asking it questions and see where it leads you. I think everybody, if you haven't already been playing with it, I think you will be pleasantly surprised on what you can do very quickly for your business.
Tom, anything from you?
Yeah, just another tool in the toolbox. So use it. Don't be afraid to let other people on your staff use it. Just they might have different inputs and ideas, and just keep trying different things out. I think it's only going to get better, and it can only benefit everyone from here.
Yep. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you later. See you.